Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Gyan Murtim Dvandvatitam Gagan Sadrisham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tabnamami. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha Upashama Prakarana, section 73. End of grief by Asanga. That's the highlight topic. Asanga Shastrena Dritena Chitva. Ignorance is to be destroyed by the weapon of Asanga. Asanga is attachment, or void of attachment. There will be always a problem of attachment if somebody else is there around you, or if something around you. But if you understand, nothing is around you. It's a bad news. I'm joking. Think in your dream, you are going through wonderful experience with your near and dear ones. And those near and dear ones, they are totally different from the practical reality. But in your dream, you are not concerned with that. And you want to secure all your relations. You want to secure your happiness in your dream. But the truth is, all your experience in your dream is illusory. All that lies before your eyes are just lies. So therefore, the question of attachment doesn't arise. But your mind first has to grasp that any effort to be attached to anything of your dream is in vain. And proof is, when you wake up, nothing comes with you. Even the dream needle stays behind the dream, in the dream world. Same applies in this practical world. The world experience is very similar to dream experience. The scriptures call it long dream. And again, I will be reiterating, all that you experience is through your brain and nervous system. It's just like experiences through an iPad. And everyone has their own iPad. Every soul has its own iPad. What the world that you are being entertained by, all the programs that come through your brain and nervous system, they are not permanent realities. And you are far from it. You are just in your computer, see my peacock dancing. You become excited, you want to touch the nose of the peacock. You can't do that. In the same way, it seems so difficult to understand, but it has a simple rationality behind it. All that you are gaining, the world you are experiencing, the brain and nervous system, doesn't look even good either. Nothing can you hold on to. And nothing is real. It is being interpreted by your mind, thought waves of your mind. And I will not go on too much in that direction. But that has to, when you are calm and reflective, you allow your mind to work upon it. Because the world is illusory. It's like a cinema show based on projections of the vrittis of the mind, thought waves of the mind. Every time you go to sleep, you don't miss the world at all. Thought waves begin subside, but they are not terminated. Deep sleep only covers them up. Ignorance is like a covering. But in enlightenment, there is no covering. And you outgrow, as it were, of your entire projection world. You outgrow your mind. Understand what happens in sleep. In sleep, you outgrow your mind, outgrow your ego. You go beyond mind. That points to the fact that in reality, the real you has nothing to do with your mind, nothing to do with the intellect. The real you is the sky has nothing to do with the clouds. So that type of real I is ever detached, absolutely detached. And any question of attaching anything to the self, think of sending out few reflected suns and imagine that they will be welcomed by the sun god. Bring a reflected sun to shake hands with the sun. I'm giving you a joking way to understand. How can there be any attachment? But this state Dvitiyo nasti. I'm one alone. There is no duality. That's the truth. How long it will take to attain the truth, that's a different matter. The truth remains intact. How long you go on dreaming, that's a different matter. But you are intact on the bed. I'm speaking in an ordinary way. Bed is not running away. Truth is not running away. Truth is ever the same. Now, subtle point is in your sadhana to promote that state even for a few minutes in your life by shavana, manana, listening, reflecting, and going into the search. Who am I? To have success, your life has to be involved with integral yoga. You have to have integration in your personality. It is a movement from discord to harmony, from lack of melody to joyous melody. So, all the notes that you use in music, none can you throw away. no matter how discordant they are. Karma, bhakti, dhyana, jnana. These are the four important chords in the veena of your personality. And they must bring out a harmonious melody. And the highest melody that comes out of it is the melody of eternity. So integral yoga, when it becomes completely successful, that's the goal behind it. You completely move away from being interpreted by the mind, because the mind itself dissolves. It's not reality. But when we describe all that, listeners begin to imagine in the same way as you imagine somebody is hiding a treasure. In other words, you imagine it in terms of time, space. When I attain liberation, then that will happen. Will I be able to handle it? There are people who have asked questions also. Suppose liberation comes in. I become the only reality. Then what will happen to my children, my family, my near and dear ones? I'm joking. Keeping that in view, what I'm leading you to understand, that enlightened, you become enlightened, but your personality continues in this world. From outward appearance, nothing is changed. Only people who have sensitivity and heart-based, purified bhavana feeling, and they are led by good karmas, they will have the understanding of a saintly personality who can inspire their progress in life. But majority of people, they find sages just like them. But whether they find just like them or not, I've also pointed out the influence of sages on masses. That influence goes beyond palabras. A sage may say so many things only to a few people around, but his very presence has its effect on the world in a very profound way, because your mind is not separated from the world. So when you go into intense mental dejection, even though you have not shared it with others, it has touched many people. O Rama, though seeing various objects, the eyes continue to remain detached from them. Your best guru is your own eyes, to give you insight into detachment. Your eyes are seeing so many things, but nothing sticks to your eyes. If you will allow even the slightest particle to stick to it, it will not be comfortable at all. So your eyes have the capacity and a special quality to remain untouched, no matter what you have to see. Learn from it and understand, apply vision, not limited only to the eyes, Anything that you understand is also called angle of vision. So vision should remain untouched. And allows all the things that you can to study come before your vision. Look at them. See your anger, see your hate, see your pride, see your weakness. See the similarly of others. Understand with yourself, you use your own inner insight and your own sadhana. When you see in others, it has two implications. In divine plan, others are not simply others. If you are seeing defect in others or interacting with them, your karma has drawn those people to you. Therefore, you are interacting with them. And you have to learn, you are going to learn some lesson, whether you like it or not. In the same manner, although in the presence of various objects of the world, the mind of a sage remains detached from them. Just like your eyes are detached, no matter whatever you may go on seeing. Similarly, the mind in you, the mind of a, if your mind has that detachment, you are a sage. You are enlightened. The surging waves of the ocean do not agitate a mountain standing by its shore. In the same manner, he who has discovered the mystic path of Brahman is not agitated by the waves of pleasure and pain. If you are pursuing the path of attaining liberation, then learn stability from a mountain. खड़ा हिमालय बता रहा है, डरो न आधी पानी से. Mountain, the folk song in India. To instill strength in young people. Mountain Himalayas, standing up is giving you instruction. Khada Himalaya, Himalaya stands up, bata raha hai, and then sends out the loudspeaker. Daro na adi pani se. Do not be afraid of storms and rains. And again, I'm using a lot of humor in it. Himalaya doesn't have to use any loudspeaker. Without saying anything, Himalaya is giving you that inspiration. Now, that's again allegorical description of stability that becomes your reality in your personality. Once that stability has become at the core of your personality, all things will come and go. You will be able to pass through all situations, and you will attain, you will not be born anymore. This will be your last birth. But even while you are facing challenges, deep down you remain untouched. But that's a subjective experience. Outside people cannot figure that out. Because he also can sneeze. I'm joking. The idea is all physical disabilities can occur in a sage. All symptoms of decay and dying will occur. But all that will occur that do not in any way alter his deep revelation, Aham Brahmasmi. So in the midst of all sufferings, a sage ends up with a very peaceful face. And sometimes you hear uttering names of God, Ram, Ram, and a serene face, joyous lips. But if that doesn't happen again, don't go after exact literal description. It happens in an unconscious way. Otherwise, all people suffer from fear of mortality. This is a mortality virus. And this Yoga Vasistha gives you the remedy for it. All scriptures give you the remedy for mortality virus. Also understand, again coming back to very practical reality, sometimes any disease or virus type of problem creates so much fear in people that even though you are not touched by the disease, and still your life goes haywire. Your personality becomes weak. The balance, harmony of your vitals becomes disturbed. Three doshas begin to occur. Vata, Pitta, Kapha. I will not go further in detail in that way. We continue with it. And of course, just reminding you of a simple episode. A traveler going in the train. It's old time story. Meets the spirit of Karana. And they start chit-chatting in the compartment. Person asks, where are you going? He says, I'm already coming from a particular place. But what were you doing there? I went to kill 500 people. But 50,000 people have been killed. Kalra says, I did only what I was told to by Brahma. Others died out of fear. In brief, my message is coronavirus. Same coronavirus, put it in Hindi language. Corona, don't do. Virus, don't indulge in the feeling of fear. Do not hold on to the sentiment of fear. Do not go after that type of sentiment. And put it more in a broad way. Mortality itself is a constant source of fear for your mind. As long as you view that you are going to die, that rings the bell each time you celebrate your birthday. You have to blow out the candles. How long can you go on blowing? That's a different matter. Human mind, a major part of the human mind gets so involved by planning to secure your peace within your short time of life. And dread of death continues constantly. The remedy, of course, is your being guided on the spiritual path, practicing integral yoga, and getting profoundly involved in satsanga, listening to these teachings of Yoga Vasistha, reflecting, meditating, and ascending the steps. Even as Hiranyagarbha, cosmic mind, gives rise to numerous worlds and yet remains unagitated, so a sage remains unaffected in spite of his apparent involvement in various actions. All these are illustrations being given, allegorical illustrations. Cosmic mind, Hiranyagarbha, is like the ocean. All minds are like little waves in that ocean. That cosmic mind brings about countless world systems, holds them, like ocean holds all the waves. But at the same time, ocean in any way is not upset by the waves or touched by the waves. The sky holds countless stars, planets, stars, Milky Ways. And look at the sky, still it is blue, untouched. So that's your reality of your personality. The real I am is absolutely untouched. But it can, speaking allegorically, it can contain all the world, countless world systems. But all the world systems are illusory. Just like in you bring out dream world each time you go to sleep. Different types of dream world arise out of your consciousness. But you are completely untouched by them when you wake up. Yes, you continue with your memories, but that's a different matter. Although a piece of gold is apparently tainted by mud, it is inwardly unaffected in its quality. Another illustration, no matter how muddy or filthy in appearance, if you are buying something of gold, as long as you know that it is gold, you will go after, you will hold it with great pleasure. Because all the filth does not render gold impure. Gold remains untouched. Its golden value remains the same. Similarly, who am I? The I in you is gold. Brahman, Atma, Paramatma. And 3 bodies and 5 sheaths, they have been wrapped up These wrappings do not in any way render the self affected or impure. Self remains absolutely untouched. And these wrappings have no value. The self alone has real value. Just as one who has recognized a dear relative does not forget him, so too, having discovered the beloved self, one does not allow the knowledge to be forgotten. Simple little illustrations are there to touch your mind, to ring the bell. Many stories are told. Traveling, you are with a person close by, and every now and then look at the person, you don't like the person. You find so many defects. But somehow a communication starts taking place. And then you come to realize the person is your twin brother. Now, all that you studied so far about the person got so dumb. And that person is, every jiva is like that story of and the soul is that stranger. Your soul and the divine self are twin brothers. It's an allegorical. Even not only twin brothers, they are one and the same. You are the one projected in the other personality. But holding that type of simile, you are always with that stranger within you, but you don't like it. Until through spiritual movement, you realize that's the stranger who is the source of all love of yours. You have discovered that it is for the sake of self all become dear. That self is always there. And dear, the self is not known at all. So all the dear is outside. Just as the water that has been trickling down a rock dries up when the rains are over, so too with the removal of ignorance, the desires of the heart no longer flow towards the objects of the world. Just the predicament of the desires. You are desiring for things you love. But all the things that you love, they are not realities. Really what you love is your own self. You have to understand when I say own self, it has nothing to do with selfishness. Your reality. So all your desires that move away from discovering the self, desires that lead you to love things outside of yourself, finding the fulfillment of love away from you. That's the predicament of the world, one who is deluded by the world. And so those desires end up creating a desert view. All the work you do, how much effort and austerity you do to sustain your desires, But ultimately, nothing can you take with yourself. Nothing really can you secure. So it's just like desires flow like beautiful river. But instead of ending in the ocean, they end up in a desert. If you do sadhana, then desires flow like rivers flowing to the ocean of immortality. Two types of flow of desire. Spiritual desire is aspiration. When aspiration develops, now you are becoming a river going to meet the ocean. You are discovering yourself in a profoundly fulfilled manner. But if you are led by desires, then you are dependent upon the fulfillment of desire in the world of time and space. So no matter how things may be secured by you, they are all perishable. And they are all superficial. Just as a fruit that has been removed from the branch of a tree cannot be reunited with the tree, so too, the spirit that has become liberated, torn from the tree of the world process, cannot be brought back again to its previous state of bondage. Now, giving insight into allegorical way describing the state of enlightenment. Once you are enlightened, you cannot be gripped by the world process. You cannot be gripped by ignorance. Just like a fruit that has been taken from the tree, it can't be put back unless you do it artificially. And therefore, the divine mantra Mahamrityunjaya illustrates this point. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe, God with three eyes. Two eyes are the relative world, third, transcending the world. That God we invoke. Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam. We invoke so that you are become spiritually nourished and waft fragrance. Your life should be a source of inspiration and upliftment to yourself and to others. So two words are used, Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam. And if you have come to a maturity of that, now you become a cucumber fruit. So big. And the world process becomes the creeper. And the creeper can't hold this fruit. Restrict the fruit. The world process now can't restrict you. You have outgrown the world. And no way can you be led back to it. So once you become liberated, you cannot be reunited with the tree of the world process. O Rama, a lady who is attached to her lover will continue to remember him with fondness even though she may be engaged in various activities and various challenges. What the scripture is telling you, think of the role of love. Of course, at the mass level, love is sentimental and it has its own role. You can have pure love that gradually leads you to love of God. That's a different matter. But what being highlighted, that if you are drawn to love, it's a matter of your heart. Nobody can push a person away from where his or her heart goes. So therefore, your attitude should not be in the terms of physical violence or force or compelling a person. You can do so, it may seem to your eyes that you have accomplished it. But unless the heart changes its angle, real remedy is not found. Implying if you have disharmony in love, force will not bring harmony. It's love will bring harmony. You have to figure out a bigger way of loving. And of course, all this I'm leading you to understand. The bigger way of loving is Godward love. Recognize anyone whom you love, you are loving God, and your love is fulfilled by allowing yourself to be good, and people whom you love, near and dear ones, they should evolve in a spiritual way. Then love is being practiced in a right way. O Rama, is there anyone so mighty and strong that can force his wife to forget the one whom she loves in the secrecy of her heart? It goes both ways, which means it applies to men, it applies to women. If man is loving someone in the heart, the wife can't just shut up his food but his wife should develop a bigger heart. Goodness triumphs. Loving heart triumphs. But love means it has to have a fragrance of a spiritual quality. If it is spiritual quality, then you don't treat a negative situation in a negative way. You conquer hate by love. You conquer anger by forgiveness, forbearance. You conquer challenging situations by humility. So that type of strength is difficult to understand by the masses. But that's the real strength. Otherwise, people go on reading the news and go on hating people, go on waiting to see those people punished in a terrible way. But there is no tender heart to understand that no life should be subjected to misery. And the cure behind all diseases, all troubles of this world is love of the heart, love that is divine. Therefore, the Upanishad says, Sarve bhavantu sukhina. May all be happy. And to secure anything profound requires patience and your own inner spiritual movement. Patience with austerity. But goodness should not move away from you. Just as the nectar from different flowers become one in the form of honey, in the same way, the joys arising out of different objects of the world are unified in the bliss of Brahman. Simple point is being given. All the pleasures that you experience in the world, they are like nectar in different flowers. And Godward joy that you experience is like honey. Honey has already contained countless nectar from countless flowers. He who has tasted the bliss of Brahman does not need to turn to the pleasures of the senses. All pleasures of the senses they are called alpam, little. You put them all together and you are capable of enjoying them. Compared to experiencing the state of realization, Aham Brahmasmi. All reflected suns and all their thrill and joy put all together compared to just simple sun, shining sun. Established in the self, a sage, though afflicted and tortured in the world, is inwardly unaffected. Though seeing his body perish, he remains united with the imperishable self. Simple way to understand. Though all the clouds thunder and create turmoil to the sky remains just the same. That state becoming your I am, Aham Brahmasmi. Your ego I am takes you to mayhem through Maya. Real I am is ever eternal, absolute, the truth. So, and that's the task before every individual. Come out of this mayhem of your Aham and discover Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. With this I conclude. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukma Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Om. You must realize that all adversities, if you have faced them properly, will make you wiser, spiritually much more enriched, and all end up into experience of diving into divine love. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukma Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.